Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Paw Patrol character, Everest. She's definitely one of my favorites because I love all of the colors. Now, I've briefly spoken to you about this before. Paw Patrol is not my favorite thing just because there are so many details that you have to nail in order to get it right. So I'm going to show you step by step how to make this character out of fondant. You could also use gum paste or modeling chocolate, but I always have fondant on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. So just a side note, I did use edible food gel to dye all of my fondant. Alright, so you saw me make that little teal bluish lump. That's going to be the body of Everest, and right now I'm working on her legs. So half of her leg is a little bit of that purplish color and half of her leg is white. So I'm kind of melding the two together and then using that tool to kind of give it a furry texture. Now what's great about this is you can just kind of cut down the ends until you see fit. To attach everything, all I'm using today is a little bit of water. Make a little indent for her paw, and then you want to indent to make her little toes as well. Now I will say that whenever you are making fondant characters, it's important that you work quickly, and if you don't work very quickly, then you want to cover whatever you're not using in plastic wrap. The placement of this leg is really important, and part of the hard part of making fondant characters is when you're looking at a flat 2D picture, it can be difficult to see what really is supposed to be popping out and how far it's supposed to be. So if you're just starting out making fondant characters, one thing I did when I first started is I looked at actual figurines that were 3D. That way I could really map out how everything was supposed to look. For the back legs, I actually cut off that part of the leg and then I attached the paw on afterwards. The head portion is probably the most intimidating part of this tutorial, or any character tutorial really, and that is because you need to make sure everything is fully supported. Now Everest's fur is a little bit purple and white at the front, so you'll notice I kind of melded the two colors together, and now I'm just using my scissors to actually cut in those details of her fur. We want to create depth in her face, so I'm kind of just making her little eye sockets here, and I'm really trying to follow the same outline as it is in the cartoon. Now I want to make her snout area, so I'm just taking some white fondant and then I'm putting a smile into it. Adding on a small piece of black fondant that's kind of triangular, but it's a little bit more rounded. And now I am adding in her eyes, and this is really where it's going to start to come to life. So I'm just making sure that I'm using similar colors to what is in the cartoon itself, and then I'm adding on all of these little black details to really bring out the shape of the eye and really bring it to life. The most tedious part of that was definitely getting those small fondant lines on there. And I will also say that adding in those white dots is a must. Now moving along to the collar portion, she kind of has her black collar sticking out just a little bit, and I added that puffy fuzzy collar of her jacket, and now I'm adding the same color of puffy fuzz to the top of her head, so that's going to act as the bottom of her toque. I apologize for that portion going a little bit fast. Some of the footage I had, I didn't have everything completely in view. All right, now I'm using that yellow to kind of outline around her legs and then finishing off at the top of the toque, and now finally adding on her little ears. And there we have Everest. I decided not to take my time and cut out her little Paw Patrol badge. Instead, I just gave her a giant triangular silver sprinkle. I wanted to give you guys a few quick tips about making fondant characters. It's really important that you have the proper support. I cannot stress enough how if you don't have the proper support, your whole character will fall apart. As you can see here, my character, because she wasn't completely stabbed into the cake yet, she was falling over just a slight bit. So it's super important that you make sure they're nice and stable. And you really need to have supports running through the whole thing if you're going to make a standing character, which I'm going to be doing a video on sometime in the future. And moving along to tip number 2, proportions. If you really want to make sure that your character actually looks like the character, it's super important that you use the right proportions. Now, some people actually like to map it out and do mathematical ratios to ensure that they have the exact right proportions. I like to eyeball things a little bit. I think it's all right if your character is slightly different. Tip number 3, details. If you're not that strong yet at being able to replicate fondant characters, it is so important that you include all of the details that you possibly can, especially when it comes to their outfit and things like their hair color maybe, or different things like that, because getting the face correct can be really difficult. So in order to offset that, you really want to make sure that you get all of the other details that you possibly can. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys.